Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. Part 1 in the bustling streets of ancient Persia, where the scent of spices lingered in the air and the call of merchants echoed through the bazaar. There lived a humble woodcutter named Ali Baba. He was poor, but content, earning a meager living by gathering firewood in the nearby forests and selling it in the marketplace. Unlike his elder brother Qasim, who was wealthy and proud, Ali Baba lived a modest life with his wife in a small, weather-worn home. One warm morning, Ali Baba set out for the forest earlier than usual. The sun had just begun to rise, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson. He walked deep into the forest, his worn axe slung over his shoulder, searching for a place where the wood was plentiful. As he chopped branches and stacked them into a bundle, the sound of distant hoofbeats reached his ears. Startled, Ali Baba quickly climbed a nearby tree to see who might be approaching. From his perch, he saw a cloud of dust rising from the path, and soon, out of the haze, 40 men on horseback appeared, each armed with swords and daggers. Their faces were hidden beneath black scarves, and their eyes gleamed with menace. Ali Baba's heart pounded. Bandits? He thought, his grip tightening on the branch. The 40 riders came to a halt near a massive boulder, shaded by ancient oak trees. Their leader, a tall man with a commanding presence, dismounted and stepped toward the rock. Ali Baba strained to listen. With a voice loud and clear, the leader called out, "Open! Sesame!" To Ali Baba's astonishment, the great boulder slowly shifted, revealing the entrance to a hidden cave. One by one, the thieves entered, their saddlebags heavy with gold, jewels, and other treasures. After the last man went inside, the boulder slid back into place, hiding the entrance once more. Minutes passed before the thieves re-emerged, their saddlebags now empty. The leader raised his arms and commanded, "Close, Sesame!" The stone moved again, sealing the cave as if no entrance had ever existed. With a signal from their leader, the 40 men mounted their horses and rode off, their hoofbeats fading into the distance. Ali Baba remained in the tree until he was sure they were gone. Then curiosity and a rush of daring pushed him toward the boulder. Standing before the enormous rock, he took a deep breath and repeated the magic words he had heard. "Open! Sesame!" The boulder moved, just as before, revealing a dark tunnel. Ali Baba stepped inside cautiously, and as his eyes adjusted to the dim light, he gasped. Piles of gold coins glittered under the torchlight. Chests overflowing with pearls, emeralds, and rubies lay open, their contents spilling onto the floor. Silks from distant lands, silver goblets, and priceless artifacts were stacked in neat piles. Never in his life had Ali Baba seen such wealth, but he remembered his modest nature. "I will take only what my family needs," he told himself, filling his bags with a few gold coins. He stepped out and spoke the words again. "Close! Sesame!" The entrance sealed behind him. Ali Baba hurried home, his mind swirling with excitement. When he showed his wife the gold coins, her eyes widened. "Ali Baba, where did you get this?" He told her the entire story, but warned, "We must keep this secret. If anyone learns of the cave, it will bring great danger to us." His wife agreed. Though her curiosity about the treasure was hard to contain, she decided to weigh the coins, borrowing a small scale from Kasim's wife. Suspicious. Kasim's wife smeared a little honey on the bottom of the scale. When Ali Baba's wife returned it, a single gold coin stuck to the honey, proof of their newfound wealth. Kasim, greedy and jealous by nature, confronted Ali Baba the very next day. "Brother," he demanded, "where did you get so much?" "Gold. You are hiding something from me." Reluctantly, Ali Baba told him the secret, repeating the magic words and warning him to be cautious. Kasim wasted no time. The very next morning, he rode to the cave with 10 mules, eager to take as much as he could carry. Standing before the boulder, he shouted, "Open! Sesame!" The stone moved, and Kasim rushed inside. His eyes sparkled as he saw the heaps of treasure. Forgetting his brother's warning, he began to fill his bags greedily, piling more and more until the mules could barely carry the load. But when he tried to leave, panic struck. He couldn't remember the words to open the cave. "Open, barley, open, fig," he muttered desperately. Nothing happened. The Tessie fumbled for the right phrase. The thieves returned. They saw the mules outside and knew someone was inside. Entering the cave, they surrounded Kasim's, swords drawn. "The leaders." Voice was cold as ice. "You know our secret. You cannot leave here alive." Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves Part 2. Kasim's hands trembled as he tried to explain himself, but the thieves showed no mercy. With a swift order from their leader, they struck him down. His lifeless body lay among the glittering piles of treasure, a grim warning to anyone who dared to steal from them. The thieves, realizing that someone else now knew their secret, decided they must find out who it was. They left Kasim's body in the cave, planning to discover the identity of the intruder's accomplice later. Meanwhile, back in the village, Kasim's wife grew worried when her husband did not return. She went to Ali Baba in tears. "He left early this morning and has not come back. I fear something terrible has happened." Ali Baba suspected the worst. He took a few trusted servants and hurried to the cave, speaking the magic words, "Open sesame." He entered and found his brother's body. Sorrow and regret filled his heart, but he knew he had to act quickly. With the help of his servants, Ali Baba carried Kasim's body back to the village. They needed to keep the manner of his death a secret to avoid suspicion. He sought out Morgiana, a clever and loyal slave girl in Kasim's household, and explained everything. Morgiana nodded calmly. "Leave it to me, master. I will arrange everything so that no one will suspect foul play." She went to the home of an old tailor named Baba Mustafa, who was known for his discretion. Blindfolding him, she led him to Kasim's house and had him sew the body together for burial, ensuring no one could tell how he had died. Then she returned him home, still blindfolded, so he could not reveal where he had been. The funeral was held the next day, and the villagers believed Kasim had died of an illness. Ali Baba took Kasim's widow and household under his care, making sure they lacked nothing. But the thieves were not done. When they returned to the cave and saw Kasim's body missing, they knew someone else had been involved. The leader spoke darkly. "We must find this man. If Kasim could enter the cave, so can he." They returned to the village, and one thief disguised himself as a merchant. Seeking information, he eventually found Baba Mustafa, the tailor, who boasted quietly that he had recently sewn a dead man's body in a most unusual manner. Intrigued, the disguised thief pressed him for details. Baba Mustafa insisted he had been blindfolded, but he remembered counting his steps from his shop to the house. Following the directions, the thief found Kasim's house. The thief marked the door with a small symbol so that he could return with his comrades. But Morgiana, ever watchful, noticed Zamaku. Suspecting danger, she marked several other houses in the same way, confusing the thieves when they returned. Frustrated, the leader devised another plan. This time, he sent the thief to mark the door with a different symbol, one less noticeable. Yet again, Morgiana saw it and outwitted them by marking all the neighboring houses with the same sign. The thieves returned once more, unable to identify the right house. Realizing brute force would not work, the leader himself came to the village. Disguised as an oil merchant, he brought with him 40 large jars, supposedly filled with oil. In truth, 39 of the jars each held one of his men, hidden inside, while only one jar contained oil. He arrived at Ali Baba's home and requested shelter for the night, claiming he was on a long journey. Ali Baba, being hospitable, agreed and offered him a place to rest in the courtyard. That evening, Morgiana went to fetch some oil for cooking. When she removed the lid from one of the jars, she heard a faint whisper. "Is it time?" Startled, but quick thinking, she realized the jars contained men, not oil. Moving silently, she went from jar to jar, confirming her suspicion. She understood immediately that the disguised merchant was the leader of the thieves, and that they planned to kill her master that night. Morgiana acted with courage and cunning. She boiled a large pot of oil and poured it into each jar, killing the hidden thieves. When she reached the last jar, she left it untouched, knowing it contained actual oil. Once the task was done, she returned to her duties as if nothing had happened. Later that night, the leader came out to summon his men for the attack. When he opened the jars, the horrible truth struck him. All his men were dead. Realizing his plan had failed, he fled into the darkness, vowing revenge. The next morning, Morgiana told Ali Baba everything. He was shocked, but deeply grateful. "You have saved my life and my family. From this day forward, you are free." Morgiana bowed her head. "I am happy to serve you, Master, but I will gladly accept my freedom." Yet the story was far from over. The leader of the thieves still lived, and his hatred for Ali Baba grew stronger with each passing day. Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves Part. 3 weeks passed, and the village returned to its usual rhythm. Ali Baba tried to put the dangers behind him, But Morgiana never let her guard down. She suspected the leader of the thieves was still alive, plotting his revenge. One market day, the leader disguised himself once more, this time as a wealthy merchant named Kojia Hausain. He dressed in fine robes, wore a turban, and even shaved his beard to conceal his identity. His plan was simple: befriend Ali Baba, gain his trust, and strike when the moment was right. When Kojia Hausain entered the bustling bazaar, his charm and apparent wealth quickly drew attention. He rented a stall and began selling rare silks and spices at prices so low that everyone was astonished. His generosity and polite manners soon made him popular among the townsfolk. Ali Baba, curious about this newcomer, visited his stall. "You sell your goods too cheaply, friend," Ali Baba said. "Surely you will lose money." Kojia Hausain smiled warmly. "Gold is not my only aim, my friend. I wish to make acquaintances and build friendships. Wealth comes and goes, but loyalty lasts forever." The words pleased Ali Baba, and he began visiting the merchant often. Over the following weeks, the two men grew closer, sharing meals and stories. Eventually, Kojia Hausain was invited to dine at Ali Baba's home. The night of the dinner, Morgiana was busy preparing the feast. She glanced at the guest and felt an uneasy stirring in her heart. Something about his eyes seemed familiar, though she could not place why. Still, she said nothing, keeping her suspicions to herself. As the meal progressed, Kojia Hausain laughed and spoke warmly, but his hand never strayed far from the dagger hidden beneath his robe. He waited for the right moment, when the laughter was loudest and the wine flowed freely. But Morgiana's sharp mind was always working. As she served the guests, she studied the merchant closely. Then it struck her. The eyes, the voice, the slight scar on his cheek. He was the leader of the 40 Thieves. Her blood ran cold, but she remained calm. She knew she had to act quickly, yet without alerting him. After serving dessert, Morgiana excused herself and slipped into another room. She dressed in the costume of a traveling dancer, complete with a flowing veil and jingling anklets. She took a dagger and hid it among her silken scarves. Returning to the dining room, she spoke playfully. "My lord, I have prepared a special entertainment for your honored guest. May I perform?" Ali Baba, unaware of the danger, agreed cheerfully. "Of course, Morgiana, let us enjoy your dance." The music began, and Morgiana danced gracefully, spinning and swaying, drawing all eyes to her. Her movements were hypnotic, her steps timed perfectly with the rhythm of the drum. The guest leaned back, smiling, believing it was a mere act of celebration. As the dance reached its peak, Morgiana whirled closer to the disguised thief. In a sudden, lightning-fast motion, she drew the dagger and plunged it deep into his heart. The music stopped abruptly. Gasps filled the room as the man collapsed, his disguise falling away to reveal his true identity. Ali Baba stood in shock. "Morgiana, what have you done?" She knelt and bowed her head. my master, this man is no merchant. He is the leader of the 40 Thieves, the one who came to kill you tonight. I recognized him, and I could not let him strike first. Ali." Baba's eyes widened as the truth settled over him. Relief and gratitude replaced his shock. "Once again, Morgiana, you have saved my life. Without your courage, I would be dead." He turned to his guests, explaining the whole story. The villagers, now aware of Morgiana's bravery, praised her as a heroine. In the days that followed, Ali Baba rewarded Morgiana with great treasures and her freedom. But she chose to remain in his household, not as a servant, but as a member of the family. Ali Baba's son, who had long admired Morgiana's wit and beauty, asked for her hand in marriage. With Ali Baba's blessing, they were wed in a grand celebration. As for the treasure in the cave, Ali Baba returned only once more. He carried away enough gold to ensure his family's comfort for generations, but he sealed the entrance afterward. The magic words, "Open, Sesame," were spoken no more. The story of Ali Baba and Morgiana became a legend in the village, a tale of cunning, loyalty, and courage. And though the cave of the 40 Thieves lay hidden and silent, its riches untouched, it remained in the whispers of the wind and the hearts of those who believed in fortune and fate. Part 4. The trap for the 40 Thieves. Morgiana stood silently in the shadow of the courtyard wall, watching the last of the oil jars being rolled into position. She had heard Qasim's fate before and vowed that no such end would befall her. Master Ali Baba, that night, as the oil merchant greeted Ali Baba with practiced courtesy, her sharp eyes noticed the peculiar weight of the jars and the faint sound of breathing within some of them. She excused herself politely, claiming she would prepare a meal for their guest. Once inside, she took a lantern and quietly lifted the lid of the first jar. Inside, crouched in the darkness, was a man armed with a dagger. He glared up at her, expecting a signal from his leader. Morgiana smiled faintly, set the lid down, and moved to the next jar. Every jar she checked held another thief, each prepared to attack on command. Her heart pounded, but she showed no fear. She quickly devised a plan. Taking a kettle of boiling oil from the kitchen fire, she returned to the courtyard and, without a sound, poured the scalding liquid into each jar. One by one, the muffled cries died away. When she finished, she set the kettle aside and returned to serve Ali Baba and his guest. The captain of the thieves waited patiently for a signal from his hidden men, unaware that his entire crew lay dead outside. After dinner, he excused himself to check the oil, but when he reached the courtyard and found the lifeless bodies, rage and fear gripped him. Knowing his identity had been discovered, he fled into the night, vowing to return. Part 5. The final confrontation. Weeks passed in uneasy peace. Ali Baba believed the danger had passed, but Morgiana knew better. She kept her eyes sharp for strangers, her ears open for whispers in the marketplace. One day, a wealthy merchant appeared in town, offering fine silks and jewels. His charm won the admiration of the townsfolk and even Ali Baba, who invited him to a feast at his home. Morgiana, however, sensed something wrong. She recognized the merchant's eyes cold, calculating, and familiar. She realized it was the captain of the thieves in disguise. During the feast, while the guests laughed and drank, Morgiana danced for them. Her graceful movements drew all eyes, including the captain's. But as she spun closer, her hand closed around a dagger hidden in her dress. With a sudden turn, she plunged the blade into the captain's heart. The guests gasped, and Ali Baba leapt to his feet. Morgiana calmly revealed the truth. This merchant was the captain of the 40 Thieves, come to finish what he had started. Her quick thinking had once again saved Ali Baba's life. Part 6. The reward. Ali Baba, grateful beyond words, offered Morgiana her freedom and a place as an honored member of his household. He swore to keep the location of the thieves' treasure a secret, using it only to help the poor and those in need. From that day on, peace returned to Ali Baba's home. The legend of the cave, the 40 thieves, and the brave servant who defeated them lived on for generations. A tale of courage, wit, and loyalty that outshone even the glint of gold.